Wondering what life is really like on Canada's wild and crazy West Coast? This podcast is all about the people, the places, and Vancouver Island time. Together, we'll explore this island paradise, a combination of ocean, city, and country living. We'll meet the fabulous locals, such as the Fudge Fairy and the Chicken Lady, who have chosen Victoria and Vancouver Island as their home. And we'll learn what makes this place unique and special to those who live here. And now, your host of Vancouver Island Time, Jane Johnston.
Hi everybody, it's Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. I'm here with Meiyan Mullin with
Essential Source Coaching.
So Meiyan, you live in Fairfield East, which you're south of Fairfield Avenue. You're east of downtown Victoria. You're quite close to the water here. Great area with the trees reaching over the street. I love it. One of the favorite places for people to come and visit in Victoria. What drew you to this neighborhood?
There is very like a peaceful energy, I find, and maybe it is because of the big trees, like you said, creeping right over. There's something very special about it. And there's a lack of big stores as well, which I like. It's very neighborhood, community, like just homes, and yeah, it's got a nice little feel to it. It was about feeling.
Did you grow up in a neighborhood like this?
No, the opposite. I grew up in the Yukon in Whitehorse. So it was very different from this. And this is why I think I love it so much. All the green and the ocean. Yeah.
Did you find it overwhelming moving from, because I worked at an international school and we had kids who came from the far north, like we're talking Nunavut and Whitehorse. Did you find it overwhelming moving here in the trees at the beginning?
I don't think overwhelming was the right word. I think it was more like enlightening and just like, wow, like the green, the lush, all of that was just like, it was heartwarming coming from like a bleaker, darker, snowier, colder environment. Yeah. So just night and day.
And so did you look all over different areas before you moved to Fairfield?
I did. I originally lived here in my 20s, and it's something about, you come down into Cook Street Village and just even all of Fairfield, there's just this different energy that I felt. Yeah. And I liked it.
I've had clients who've lived here and then they've moved away and they want to be back here. Like that's how much they love it.
There is like this kind of really, I think like I already said, this like peaceful, like almost healing energy down here. And it's quiet. It's really quiet because there's not a lot of stores, and I like that. So,
okay. So, so you have a young son and he's going to school in the area. What school? Because there is a choice of schools. And tracks. What did you pick?
So the catchment school for this area is Margaret Jenkins, and it is a dual track French and English, and it goes to grade 5. So that was a big part of why I moved back here last summer. It's just a nice elementary school, and we can walk to school. It's really nice. Yeah.
Are there lots of little kids in the area?
I think so. I think there's a good mix. Yeah, because we actually had neighbors that were over in Oak Bay and moved to this street because they had no kids on their street.
It happens. And same thing for us, actually, in Metchosin. We are in a street with quite elderly people, and it's a bit lonely, actually, for our kids.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
My kids are 15 and 17. We've been there for 5 years. Yeah, 5 years.
Nice.
So what about in terms of places? Like, so you're right near Fairfield Plaza. Do you go there a lot?
All the time. We got Thrifties right there. So again, I can walk to go get my groceries, which I really, really love. Yeah. So we can just kind of walk everywhere, and everything that you just need is close by, right? But none of the extras that I really don't want around, right?
So what's in that mall?
Oh boy. Okay. So they got the Thrifties. I think they've got all the essentials. There's a bank, dentist, pharmacy, pub, liquor store. There's I think there's a little
flower store.
Yes, the little flower. There's a little clothing shop. All optometrists. They've got hardware. That's right. They've got all the basics covered. Yeah.
Do you find, I get a bit fearful when I go into that parking lot though, because people aren't the best drivers there.
You want to kind of time it sometimes. Yeah. Like just before dinner, it's pretty packed in there for sure. Yeah. And it's like a tight Thrifties. They can't expand, but still it's just got this quaintness to it. I like it.
So tell everybody what Thrifties is exactly.
Oh, Thrifties, the grocery store. It's the BC Island. I think it's just on the island grocery store. Yeah. I just love it. And they have lots of local suppliers. So it's really nice.
Okay. So what about proximity to downtown?
It's very good, right? So it's only a 5-minute drive to like downtown Inner Harbor. But even better, am I getting to the punch or spoiling the big surprise? It's like at the end of the street is the ocean. There's like so many little beaches I can go to. So there's like the Gonzales Bay, which is fabulous. And all the people are out there on their sup boards. And then there's the Ross Bay, Clover Point Beach right there. Like this is all within walking of just like literally minutes. So yeah. And then just a 5-minute drive to downtown.
Do you go downtown for lots of events?
Not so much. And I probably should be biking more. Most people in this area just bike downtown to go to work and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I've had clients who've wanted to move down here because they work in the legislature or government and they want to be able to get to work quickly.
Absolutely. And then there's Beacon Hill Park too. I mean, it's just, I literally feel like this is like the greatest little spot. Shh.
Do you ever go to the petting zoo in the park?
Of course. Of course. And the flowers and the peacocks and the
running of the goats.
And the goats. I mean, it's just all just right there. It's just so cute.
They have pickup actually. What's it called? Frisbee. I find there too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then of course, right along the water there, like on the edge of Beacon Hill Park, there's always some sort of event going on. And the one road, like Dallas Road that comes along both sides here, it's always like, I would say every second weekend, it's being blocked off for some sort of like marathon or cycling, or like, this is where all the big events tend to swing through and by. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. The Times Colonist 10K comes along here.
Yeah. So you always get a front row seat to all the stuff.
Do you get involved in things like that? The Times Colonist, or I'm trying to find out all about you.
Don't put me on the spot. No, I'm not.
That is the purpose of the interview.
I am single parenting, so I'm not really doing a lot of volunteer work right now. That'll be coming. I think I would, if I was going to be volunteering, this is what I did when I was living up island, was more the hospice type volunteer work. Yeah, that's my thing.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
I do a lot of volunteering. I ran a TC 10K clinic for a couple of years on Sunday mornings, and it's a great program. It's 13 weeks, and you get a professional speaker in every week. You learn how to walk, run, and basically work out so that by the end you're able to run the 10K. And there's also 1K for your kids. A lot of fun.
My child's in elementary, which means there's a lot of volunteering going on there. Yeah, that's where I spend my extra time.
Do you find like how big is his class?
There was only 16, I think, kids. It was 16 or 17 kids in his class.
Wow. So do you find, actually that's a perfect size. I'm a former teacher. So 16 is a great number.
Right. What grade did you teach?
I taught middle school and high school and university.
Okay. Well, my guy was just in grade 2 last year. But yeah, Margaret Jenkins is just really, really good. Yeah. The principal is like literally smiling and like a happy guy. Like I feel no stress in that school, which is, I think, pretty amazing. Yeah. Really beautiful school.
And then he'll go to Monterey after?
That would be the next one in the catchment. Yeah. Yeah.
So I know the principal of that school, and he's a great guy as well. I actually grew up with his wife on Briar Hill Avenue in Toronto.
Wow. Hence Briar Hill. Realty. Ding, ding, ding. I got it.
What do you do with other parents in the neighborhood?
Go for walks.
Do you go to the Moss Street Painting?
We did in the Moss Street Market. We've gone down there a few times. Yeah, it's just a great area to go for walks. And that's kind of my favorite thing to do, is just go walking.
Tell me about the Moss Street Market.
It's got food and vendors.
When is it?
Oh, it's always on Saturdays from, I think it's 10 to 2 or maybe 10 to 1, something like that. Yeah, it's a fabulous little market, and it's right next to the school down there. So there's a playground for the kids and everything. Tons, of course, all the local people out with all their produce and all their really cool stuff that they make. You know, really, really good market. Yeah.
And is it expensive, like compared to thrifties?
No.
Okay, well, let's move on to food because I do see some yummy stuff here. Tell me where you got that.
At the little cottage, yeah, the cottage bakery right at Moss and Fairfield. So that's just a couple minutes down. Yes. They are the best. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. Yeah. And you know why they're the best? Because they don't over sugar all the things that I've talked to them about it. Everything that they make has just the right amount of sweetness. It's not high sugar. It's just right. So it's really good.
I really like their almond croissant.
And their carrot cake. The best. The best.
And they make awesome sandwiches, actually.
Everything. It's such a cute little corner there. And there's the bicycle shop too around the corner and a couple of other things.
Dutton's.
Yeah, and there's like a naturopath, and what else is on that little corner?
On the other corner, there's a doctor's office, actually, where we take our kids, and there's also a veterinarian clinic.
The vet. Yeah. Yep. Everything you need.
So what about for women in business? Tell me, what do you do? How do you network?
Well, I go to a couple of different networking here in Victoria. Only 2, actually. Yeah, and this is how we met.
So eWomen Network, and what's the other one?
The WWBN, so the Women's West Shore Business Network, yeah.
Okay, and do you find they bring in a different crowd or the same crowd?
No, it is a little bit of it. I mean, it's definitely a different vibe. It is a different crowd. It's hard to put my finger on it though, but it's different for sure. Yeah.
I find the like people are at different stages of their career at the different networks.
Yeah, and actually I think the West Shore one might be a little bit older, just slightly, I think, in general.
You mean the membership?
The women are just a little bit older. The eWomen seems just slightly younger. Have you noticed that?
No, I haven't been for a while, but I'll go to that one. I'll go back and check it out. Okay, and anything else you want to highlight about this area? What about, do you go to Oak Bay Village?
I do. Yeah. Again, it's kind of like a 5-minute drive away. Actually, we end up going over there a lot because of the rec center with my child. So there's just like anything and everything over at Oak Bay Rec, and then Oak Bay Avenue with all the little shops and stores and nice little restaurants is another just like a gem of, yeah, love it.
Yeah, so you really actually do have the best of both worlds here.
Very central. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so if you want to know more about Fairfield East, you can contact me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. But stay tuned because we're going to be back. Meiyan is going to talk about her business, which is a coaching business, and we're going to learn her unique approach to working with
women who are actually tired of using alcohol, step into their highest selves.
Okay, so we'll be back soon.
Vancouver Island Time is brought to you by the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, Victoria, where we bring local expertise and global presence to your property.
Hello, everybody. It's Jane Johnston. I'm with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Camosun, and we're back with Meiyan Mullin with
Essential Source Coaching.
So, first of all, what is the focus of your coaching practice?
Right. So I work with women, usually in midlife. That seems to be the average age. Women who are tired of using alcohol and they are ready to really step into a higher version of themselves. So some of the women I work with have actually stopped drinking for months already, but they've realized they've got some healing and issues and growth that they want to, step into and expand.
Or step away from, step out of.
Yeah, it is a dual, like there's healing to be done, right? Like most people we know if they're kind of overdoing it, and these are not alcoholics. This is like, these are teachers and nurses and people who go to work every day and have families and homes, like, but they're just drinking a little bit too much and a little bit too often, and they're ready for something different because they know it's just not working. It's just making them tired.
So what's your approach?
It's very holistic. I'm also a yoga teacher and an energy healer. And I'm also a highly sensitive, intuitive person. So it's some deep stuff we go into. Yeah, but I have this 8-week program. So it's very structured and guided that they walk through, and they have their homework. And then we have also every week we have a one-on-one, mentoring session where we dive into the issues. And the first few weeks are pretty intense because we go right to all those places that are painful, the traumas and the shame and all those little reasons that you've been kind of stuffing down. That's why it's so easy just to have a drink and right, rather than deal with your shit. So,
well, that's putting it quite plainly.
But most women, they have this awakening, this like kind of upgrade around 40-ish, right? Did you find that?
Yeah, I just had kids, and I felt like I needed to step into who I was again.
Right. It's kind of this like internal calling or awakening that they know there's something else and something more, but it's like, someone guide me, show me the path, right? So that's what I've got for them.
I think we have a unique time in our life after we have children where we've been at home with them sometimes. For me, I went a little stir crazy because I'm my bank code, my personality profile is knowledge. So it's all about learning all the time. So when I was at home, I just like, okay, well, what am I going to do next? Like it was a real time to allow me to reflect and go into what I would want to do to make myself happy.
Exactly. And that's when you start to look at what's in your life and reflecting, like, is this helping me or hindering me? Is it serving me or is it dragging me down?
How do you find you get your clients?
It's been through networking, as has been great. Social media, Instagram is kind of my favorite, but
what's your Instagram handle?
It's just my name, but my website domain for anyone who is curious is womenwillrise.ca.
And what does that mean for you?
Oh boy, that's a good question. Yeah, so I went through my own kind of little awakening process like 6 years ago when I decided to ditch the booze and like really jump into my own growth and purpose and all of that, which like came after having a child. Like there's this, this kind of cosmic upgrade and your mind just like, woo. But do you have like almost the courage to step into it and explore that side of who you are, right? On a deeper level. And so, yeah, over the last 5-6 years, I've really dove into my heart's calling and taken the courses and the learning and the healing and the growth and yeah, put it all together.
So I'm not a psychologist. I've taken lots of counseling courses as a former teacher. But I'm just wondering if people's partners have issues with the growth in somebody.
Yes. In a nutshell, yes. They either step up or they have to step out of the way. I mean, right? In a relationship, you're either growing together and evolving together, or else it just doesn't work anymore. So yeah, when you go through a big evolution and you kind of step into the next version of yourself, sometimes people in your life fall away, right? Friendships fall away that are no longer, and sometimes it's sad, but yeah, I mean.
Have you read the book, The Dance of Anger?
No.
So it's about that sort of interaction. So if I change and you don't like the change, you're going to prod me until you get the reaction that you're used to getting because you're uncomfortable with my change.
My new me, right? My more authentic me, right? And if you're not still maturing and growing into a more authentic you, it freaks you out. Like, get back in that box. I had you in that box and that's where I want to keep you because that's where I feel safe. So yeah, in a relationship, like a partnership, then it gets tricky.
So when you're finding women are having issues, is it a whole family thing? Does it change the way they're parenting and maybe perceiving other people in their work, their family life?
That's been actually one of the most, I think, well, one of the really rewarding things is how when a woman really like steps into this growth and healing and getting really clear, right? The ripple effect into her children's lives is like, oh, it's just like the greatest, right? Because they'll always mirror what you're giving out, right? So when you step into a higher version of yourself, your children step into a higher version of themselves. Like even if they're 2 years old, they reflect back a more balanced, kind of healthy, yeah, like everything improves around you as you improve yourself, right?
Yeah, it's funny. So I guess I kind of speak in, what's the word? I have a lot of sayings, right? And I always think my kids aren't listening.
Does it not?
I do, though. I'm like, I talk about closing the gap a lot, which is finishing things, and to really, figure out, don't do something to make me happy. Do something, well, obviously clean the kitchen or your room, but do something that eventually will make you happy. That will be where you're going to gravitate to, because they're trying to make career decisions now.
Right. So and improve is not the right word, actually. As we step into, and this should be throughout your whole life, that you're constantly just stepping into like a higher version of yourself, like evolving, maturing. And as you do that, then again, you're just shining your best self, right? And then your children, oh, wow, right? Because, they don't ever do what we say, they do as we do.
Do you ever hear from people, so I get this from other people, that, well, you're too strong, and so therefore you're overshadowing your partner and kids?
You get that you're too strong.
I get that. I'm like, I'm sorry. Do you want me to not be myself?
Right. So, well, that's kind of a whole nother little dynamic of masculine and feminine energies. So if you have a strong masculine energy of just like strength and kind of taking care of business and action, and you just need to have a balance within your partnership that they can then hold the other dynamic, right? It's not a man or a woman thing. It's just different kind of energy.
I find we actually have a really good relationship in terms of our values. We're very aligned. In fact, the same stuff comes out of his mouth that comes out of my mouth when our kids do something. So that's very easy, I find. A lot. Do you find that that's an issue too? So there's the values, there's the action, there's self-perception, but there's also the core values. Do those get revised as people evolve?
Well, they have to be, right? You have to be kind of constantly as a partnership, be kind of almost going back to your mission statement and your vision, right? And hopefully as a partnership, if you've got, if your spouse has been abusing alcohol, right? Been using alcohol as a crutch or a this or that, you would hope in your partnership that they would simply want to hold that space for you to heal and evolve into your best stuff so that you can then come back together and have that vision and that partnership on a higher level, right? Together, you'd hope.
Yeah. Like, i.e. don't offer me a drink every time we have dinner.
Yeah, they need to be supportive of the healing process for sure and give you that space. I mean, that's the ideal. If someone really loves you, they want the best for you, right? They want you to step into your authentic, true self, right? Not having it fogged up with the booze. So hopefully they would.
Why did you pick alcohol? Or do you have people who come to you with drug issues?
No, I'm really focused in on gray area drinking for women. It's because I lived in that gray zone, so I know it well. And it's becoming a bit of a silent epidemic right now for women who are especially in their 40s. I've got some 30s and I've talked to some women in their 50s, but we grew up in the 70s and the 80s, right? As kids and teens. And so that's when drinking was just it's like a free for all. And no one ever told me that it wasn't a good idea. And if anything, it's like, what's wrong with you if you're not, right? You must be sick or pregnant if you're not having a drink.
Well, even then, I think people did drink when they were pregnant.
I think so. But now we know that literally one drink is actually harmful. And so there's this silent, like I said, it's almost like epidemic right now. The numbers of women in midlife that are stuck in this gray area and, drowning themselves in booze, but they're not alcoholics yet. The numbers are shocking and they're spiking. Like they're going up by like 200%. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, and also it's dangerous too, right?
So drinking any amount of alcohol increases a woman's risk of cancer by 15%.
All kinds of cancer or certain kinds?
It's breast cancer, liver, all the gastrointestinal, reproductive ones. Those are the biggies by 15%. Yeah, so it's alarming.
It is alarming. So why is the government or Health Canada not saying anything? Where is that study from?
Which the
15, yeah.
Oh, the 15%. I read it from multiple different, every doctor knows this. Alcohol is a poison and it increases your risk of cancer, right? It's poison. It is toxic, right? So to have it in your system it's only going to increase. And if you've ever had any type of cancer, or it's in your family, I would be steering clear.
Do you find when women go through this process, are their husbands also abstaining? Or partners? Some
are, some aren't. There's usually been, other big issues, right? It's all connected, if we're drinking too much, there's probably other issues going on, and there's going to be a lack of proper deep connection with your spouse, because when you drink, there is no deep connection with anyone, right? Your life goes on pause, whether you're having 3 glasses or however many, right? So there's no deep connections going on. So there's a rebuilding of I think even trust and deep connection with your partner that needs to happen and get reestablished as well. It's complex. You know what? No one may have ever even said to this person that they have a problem or that they should quit or even slow down, but they know they have an issue. They know they have a problem. They know that it's got a grip on them. But like I said, they're still going to work. They got their kids. They're, doing it all. And this is part of the problem, right? The women are just doing it all. So boy, that, glass of wine at the end of the day is really enticing, which then turns into a bottle, right? So it's actually robbing from them instead of doing what they were hoping it would do.
So at the end of 8 weeks, what happens?
Transformation. In a nutshell, it's transformational. Yeah.
Do they have something else that they could do with you after that? Like if they relapse?
Yeah. And that's interesting that you're really getting into the hardcore terms like relapse and stuff like that. It's, I really feel like I help women. They reach a point where they don't want to drink because they feel so good and fulfilled and given all the tools now to deal with the stress and anxiety and overwhelm and all of that it's not necessary to have a drink, and they don't even want to because it's going to take them away from how good they feel, right? And even if they have a moment where, they break down or have a really tough time and they fall back into an old habit, an old pattern, it's okay. Just start fresh the next day, go back to the tools and the strategies and back to filling up the void, right, that they were feeling probably.
Fill their own cup first with water. Not alcohol.
Herbal tea is the way forward.
Okay, so your ideal client is?
A middle-aged woman who is literally either tired of using alcohol or she's already quit and now is feeling kind of like, oh God, I've got a lot of work to do here. Someone show me the way, right? Yeah.
And how do people get in touch with you?
Best way is right on the website, womenwillrise.ca, or they can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Meiyan Mullin.
How do you spell your name?
Yeah, this is tricky. So it's Meiyan, Meiyan, Mullin, Mullin.
And Instagram, sorry, is Meiyan Mullin?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So if you want more information, if you are having some issues with alcohol and maybe you want some clarity, you can talk to Meiyan. If you want some information on the Fairfield East area, you can talk to me. I'm Jane Johnston with the Briar Hill Group at Remax Mosin. Take care and have a great day, and welcome to the neighborhood.
Welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you have had some insight into West Coast living. If you know of someone or someplace that should be highlighted in our podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Please go to VancouverIslandTime.com and click on our Connect button. See you next week on Vancouver Island Time with Jane Johnston.